Greetings and happy today.
Greetings.
Welcome, welcome. We're going to wait for our guests to come in, for folks to start coming in. Greetings. Hey, Bisha. Peace and greetings. Okay, so I see our guests in the chat. We're actually streaming on YouTube as well. Um, we want to make sure y'all get all the information, all the sound. Is very important. Um, for reasons that I know and some that I do not even know. But these are very important conversations. So I'm very pleased to have our guest. Let me enter, letter accept. And we're going to play Black Vanguard because we're talking about Black Vanguards this month. So I want to let y'all hear a little bit of the song. Hmm. Let's see how this going to work. Alafia. Let's see. We rolling with it. We're going to find out. Yeah, I'm getting some feedback though. I wonder. Okay, let's see. Mic check. Mm. You have your earpods in?
Maybe I should take it out.
I don't know.
What is it? Is it better? It's still giving the feedback.
I wonder if I can put my earpods in. Let me try it. I appreciate the All right. Can you hear me over? I'm on mute. I don't hear any feedback. Do you? Okay. Okay. We hear you.
I unmuted myself as well.
Okay. I'm hearing you over there, and then here. I think you figured it out.
Right?
Ashe. I'm so thankful. This was a moment for me, a tough decision, but Spirit wanted me to have this information on YouTube, and it's a whole process when you got to just record everything and then record it over again and put it on YouTube. So I give thanks for your patience. The theme for the month of March is Black Vanguard. And in particular, I wanted to speak with women because it's Women's History Month. So I think it's so divine and on time. And so I want to welcome our guest, Chief Erelu Awo.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me in your space. I appreciate that. And you considering me a Black Vanguard and us having conversations today and exchanging. I look forward to it. Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Okay, I can bring this back over. So, spirit is so interesting. What the conscious mind can remember, or lack thereof. The subconscious mind is always at work. That Ori is always there, aligning things. And so the conversation is rising with my husband was about an Odu or a ring. And he was saying some names and he went back to reference something and he was talking about he said the name wrong, but then he said Erelu. And I was like, that's who I'm interviewing today. So we just diving deeper, like, having all these revelations. And I'm looking back at our messages and just how we even connected in the first place.
Right.
Um, was ancestrally, I was attracted to you and just the work that you were doing and how it just all laid out. And I had no intentions about going into depth about your name, about your title, but it's, of course, we have to talk about it in alignment with being a Black Vanguard and it being Women's History Month. So I would love to hear you explain in as much depth as you can, about your title and how it relates to women and the power of women.
Right. So Chief Erelu Awo is a title that's it's very layered, right? So it belongs to different groups. So I will say that um, it's a it's a title for a woman, um, and the title I would say is specific for a powerful spiritual woman that is the heartbeat of Ogboni society. She is also the I would use the intermediary between the owls, heaven, um, the community. Um, she's there to protect them, guide them, lead them physically and spiritually. So it's a title that belongs to both Ifa and Ogboni, and it's a community um, title. So it's kind of weird to say that like I'm the warrior that stands in between the owls and the community, but technically that is what I do. I'm here to defend the owls of the community that I'm from in Nigeria, Iwara, Oka, and West Odu State, Nigeria, and obviously in the diaspora where I am in the African diaspora. But I'm a female warrior among the owls. So that is who I
Wow. Wow. And so if you could even explain Awo, I know some people on here know,
am. Right.
but not everyone.
I mean, in a nutshell, everyone is, if you practice Ifa, whether you're initiated or not, you're owl. You're someone that's involved spiritually, so you can be initiated, you be a young owl, someone that's coming in. And different lineages might express it differently, but owl is someone that practices the tradition or that is an Ifa practitioner or learning Ifa. I would say my spiritual children are my owls as well. So the word is kind of interchangeable. But an
Mm,
owl is someone that is someone who is in the tradition, practicing the tradition, whether it's Ifa or Orisha, but you're like an owl.
I see. I see.
Mhm.
Um, I have a question. It's in alignment with how I introduced this. Um, but I'm wondering, does that titling have anything to do with that particular Odu Owori?
Um, not that I'm not that I'm spec- I'm not sure. I can do some research on that, but the the Odu that is specific to my title is my Odu from my life. So that kind of came with that. But I'm sure they might speak of Erelu in the Odu. We can always double check and do that, right? That would be something that I would be interested to see. um, but Erelu is more attached that I from my understanding, what with the information that was given to me, it's more attached to like my destiny and my path and the route that I have to take here while I'm in this marketplace.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
So deep. Um, let's see. Sorry about this, y'all. Somebody said it was an echo, so I want to move it away from the speaker.
Okay.
So what is a black vanguard? I have a quick little, just quick definition, but in your when I approached you about being a black vanguard and speaking on this and sharing your story and your life and your journey, um, what came to mind? So I'll say what I just the general definition. The forefront of any movement, leaders of intellectual or political movement. And that's just the definition of vanguard. Did you have anything you wanted to add to?
Um, to the definition of a van, I would say that a black vanguard is definitely someone that is a rebel of sorts, someone that is not um, concerned with societal norms or ways that things should be, and are trying to move whatever industry that they're in forward um, in an unconventional way. Um, yeah, and that's kind of like how I see myself too, and other black vanguards that I see in the world. Like, you're just kind of moving to your own beat. You understand the assignment and you're doing it regardless of what's happening around you. Whatever issues are happening, you're just kind of like plowing through and getting it done in your way, right? Like being your most authentic self, I would say.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yes, indeed. Um, so I want to even lead that into how do you lead? We I'm hearing the definition, but just in terms of what you do in the world, like more specifically, who you are. Your bio is incredible, amazing, and I'm like, what is it? Like, it's just
Yeah,
very dynamic.
it's a lot. How do I lead? That's a good question. Um, I don't think of much about leading. I don't even think that I thought of myself much as a leader. Um, so when I even got this title or even became a Iyanifa, I was like, "Are you sure?" Because I don't know, right? It was a very it was a very humbling moment for me. Like I never really considered myself a leader in that way, but how I lead uh, in regards to being in the IFA space, so I'll talk about in IFA, but I have different other facets as a professor or in the art world or as a mom, But in IFA, I think the way I lead, I don't know if I'm necessary. People like, oh, your followers. I'm like, I don't have followers. I have leaders, right?
Hmm.
I feel like everyone that comes to me is a leader in their own space, and I'm just kind of the person that's just ushering them and kind of just helping them get where they need to go.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, it's like my leadership style is to let you be your most authentic self. How can I as the leader help you be yourself, right? So I'm the servant here. Right? I'm here to help you, right? So, and based on, in Ifa, you have a, whether you initiate or you're getting divinations, I'm here to kind of help you understand what Ifa's asking you to do. What does it look like on a day to day?
Mm.
Working through those things, because we hear these odus that are 10,000 years old, and we're trying to like make it make sense for 2022. So I'm here like, okay, trying to interpret this odu, and what does this look like for you, and making it make sense. So that's for me. So I'm helping the leaders do their thing and be great in their niche, right? So I'm not the Iyanifa that's like, let's meet on a Sunday and let's pray every day. Like, I'm not that person. For me, I'm the one that's like, you come to me, you have an assignment, I help you to get the assignment, then I train you for the assignment, and then I send you out into the world. I'm always here. I'm always here, right? So you can always come back. But I think maybe because that's how I was trained in IFA, is how I probably lead too, because my Oluwa wasn't here. So it was a lot of video conference, text messages, voice notes, making it make sense. So I had to kind of learn independently in a way.
Yeah.
So and this is you can't climb, I can't climb the mountain for you, right? So I can cheer you along the way and give you what you need to move up. So I'm not like the hold your hand type of leader. I'm like, all right, you ready? Like, go time. You fell, not ready, come back, go try again. Um, so I kind of lead in that way. Um, just kind of like the coach on the sideline, moving you forward.
That's Shay. I think that's so beautiful. It's like that whole proverb or statement about, you know, taking a horse to get water or teaching someone how to, giving somebody a fish as opposed to teaching them how to fish.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
see in the diaspora, a lot of people are dependent on their babalaos and Iyanifas, and that's fine if that's your style. But for me, I don't want your Ifa. I don't want your Orisha. That's supposed to be in your home. You need to know how to divine. You need to know how to, your children need to know how to consult. You need to know how to pray, chant these odus. Like, I'm here to help you be your best self in your life, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need, so um, I'm definitely here to encourage and what it looks like, because we are in the diaspora, and I navigate both spaces, right? So I'm in Yoruba land and I'm here and I'm back and forth. So it's like, okay, we're not Nigerian, we're Caribbean, we're American, we're South American. What does this look like for us? I always think about Ifa think about Ifa in a futuristic way. What does Ifa look like here for us now? We don't learn Odus the same way. Um, Now we might have to be doing readings via phone, especially with the COVID and things like that. So just adapting, because Ifa has adapted over centuries. So we're in a new, I think we're in a new phase of adaptation, because 2,000 years, our ancestors practiced it. It looked aesthetically different, right?
Yeah.
So it's looking different again. So it's like, okay, what does it look like with, but still keeping one thing. I'm it's weird because I'm like a structured, fluid person. So I'm very strict on practicing the foundational things of Ifa, doing the Odus, making sure your Ebo is as accurate as possible. Like, I'm not the priestess that's like, Ifa says give uh Ogun foreleg and you giving him a hen. I'm like, no, 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 no. I will let them do it in Nigeria, right? Like, I'm very big on trying to do it as to the book as possible. But those are the foundational things. Aesthetically, it can look like whatever, right? I don't have to walk around in lace all day. I'm not Nigerian. I feel like I'm playing. I have tattoos. I party. Uh, I curse. Um, I'm living my life like I'm myself. A lot of people struggle with that, me being a leader in that way, because I'm not following the status quo. But I'm just like, listen, Eva put me in this position. Eva doesn't have a problem with me, so I could care less about what any other human has to say, right? I'm doing what I'm here to do. And those who agree will agree. Everyone's not gonna like me. I'm cool with that. It's whatever. But that's how I kind of lead. I want people to be their selves, practice as authentically as they can, listen to spirit, Still follow the rules of what Ifa's telling you because Ifa is the truth. So you still want to make sure that in whatever you're doing, you're still maintaining, because you went to Ifa, right? Like this is you chose to come to get this.
Right.
Right? So why am I giving you the instructions and you're not listening to it? That's weird. You go to the doctor, they give you a prescription, you don't follow your prescription, you get sick. That you don't go to the doctor, right? Um, you didn't take the medication correctly or whatever it is, but um just kind of like letting people just be themselves and do it their way, and spirit is guiding them, and ancestors are guiding them, your ori is guiding you, you have egg bait that's working with you, or your risha. So
Mm.
and then we have free will. So that's the that's something else. So everyone just kind of I just allow people to be themselves.
I mean, I think that's a powerful way to lead. You, I turned my volume down on the computer. I think I won't hear my echo because it's throwing off my home.
Mhm.
Can you turn
Turn
yours
it
down? I think it's still
down.
record. No, no, the computer. Let's see. Okay,
Is
cool.
it better? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Um, I'm a Gemini, y'all. So when I'm hearing myself, I'm like,
Two
wait,
things going.
what?
Mhm.
I was having a moment. Y'all probably saw it a little bit in there. I was like, but I think that's a powerful. Okay, I'm back. I'm here. Yeah, echo is fixed. Ashe. I think that's a powerful way to lead. I think that's what Black Vanguardism, is about. This about the future. Dealing
Mhm.
with Ifa in the future is not gonna look the same, but to
Yeah.
still have that foundation, like you said. And I'm just reiterating because it is so true. It's so right now.
Mhm.
I'm hearing folks kind of caught up around, no, you don't get readings over the phone. No, you don't get readings on Zoom.
Mhm.
It's like,
Mhm.
well, how
Mhm.
are we moving? How are we
Mhm.
pushing forward? So I enjoy
Mhm.
hearing that confirmation from you. Not necessarily that I needed it, but just for folks who are
Right.
listening,
For
um,
sure.
that things are changing and shifting, and we have to be able to lead.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
important to lead the way
Yeah.
and start a
And
new cycle.
I mean, our ancestors definitely found ways to maintain the culture and do certain things that we can see now that still maintained, and I give thanks to them. They had to adjust. So I think now we're adjusting in a new way. Um, we're not enslaved anymore, so we don't have to hide, and we can go back to the source, and we can, learn in a different way, access information in a certain way. But I think Ifa knows where we are in the world and the phase that we're in. And I think, um, you know, us being in the diaspora is a blessing because then Ifa can spread and grow. And, you know,
Yes.
we are here. So we need help here, right? Like we're not on the continent, so, but we're here. We're children of of the continent. We're African and we need help here. And our ancestors are here to help us and we make it work. Um, so, I give thanks for the people that I work with that, and our ancestors have found ways to still tap in and still channel energy and still get the correct answers, whether or not I'm in front of you or I'm on the mat,
Ashe.
right? Or you can call in and pray when Ebo is taking place on online or whatever the case is. So, for me, I rather do that than have someone give me like some unfinished something in person, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not doing that.
And
But that's just my philosophy. So, and it's been working. Anybody that works with me could tell you that it's been on the money. We haven't had any problems, and life has been good. So I share to that.
Ashe, yes, Ashe to that. Getting to the point now where you're, Iyanifa, you're a chief.
Hmm.
It's been a road. It's been a journey. Obviously, right? It's life, but
Right.
I'm interested to know how it began, because as I was reading more about you and speaking with you, it's like sometimes we don't always take our culture and everything with us. you know, and I'm curious to know just more about that journey, you being from the Caribbean and then tying it into the African, but you're in
Yeah.
America,
Right.
you
So
know,
many
like
things. You got Jose? How much time we got? No, I'm just kidding. Um, because honey, I would say from the beginning where it began, right? So it might have began. It began at birth. I just didn't know, right? I was born Chief Erelu, right? You were born, who you're supposed to be, right? But we don't know. We didn't go through the fact. We didn't go through the traditional way of knowing, so we got a little lost along the way. But I would say that growing up in Trinidad and Tobago, specifically Trinidad, it definitely cultivated my understanding of spirituality because if you understand the space is a diverse space. So I grew up in a house with a mother that was Catholic, an uncle that was Buddhist, my grandmother practiced Orisha. I have friends as Hindu, Muslim. So, and in Trinidad, we kind of celebrate each other individually. So I've always understood the concept of being an individual in a collective, and
shit.
understanding that spirituality is something that has to be very specific to you and what works for you. Um, so I grew up, you know, being scared to death when they ringing bells in the church and we call it catching power, but now we know it's manifestation and all these. I'm like, what is happening? I'm ready to go. I'm scared, granny, whatever. Um, and so that was, I kind of grew up in that, but went to Catholic church, Catholic school, all of that. So fast forward to being a teenager in the U.S., still kind of following the Catholic tradition, but it's not connecting. And anybody that's an Omo Urumila, like not like traditional religion does not connect, right? So I'm about to do my confirmation and this and the third, and I'm like, I'm off this, mom. Like, I'm not going back to this
Mhm.
teen Friday night up in this church. Like, I'm good. So I had always been, so I have always been searching spirituality. I always knew there was something bigger. I always knew there was something else, but nothing was ever connecting,
Mhm.
right? I had tried Islam. I had tried this. I had an uncle that was Buddhist. That might have been the closest I got to it, doing the Buddhism thing. And then I just started praying, like, send the spirituality because I felt like something was missing. So at the
Yes.
time I'm pregnant with my son, my cousin, who I have to give a big shout out to, Yeye Oyelade Oshundami Lola Egbe Shola. She came to my house she wasn't this at the time, but she came over. And I noticed on Facebook she was like doing little things. She's like by the river, and I'm like, what's going on over there? She's not really saying nothing, but it's giving spiritual vibes. And I'm like, all right, minding my business. So she comes over to bring gifts, and I have on like waist beads, and then she's asking me why I'm wearing them, and I'm like, what are all these speaky spooky questions? Like, talk to me. What are you doing, right?
Right. She's trying
And
to find
she's
out.
trying to figure out like what I'm doing. Um, and at this time, I'm in my master's program. I'm teaching Caribbean studies. I'm studying all things African philosophy, these type of things. So, something's buzzing. So she comes over and she's just like, have you ever heard of Ifa? And I'm like, no. So my historian self is like, I go in on the computer and I'm like, haha, this the one right here. Right.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, so Ifa's a vibe. So what do I do now? Right. So she's like, well, you go, I said, what's the process? She's like, it's similar to what Granny and them they did. And I'm like, okay. Then go, I get a reading. Aoife's telling me I was supposed to have initiated a long time ago. I'm gonna be doing things like magic. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, this is crazy. Like, what? I'm like, okay. I'm like, so what is this initiation? Like, what does this look like? So I got the reading, I want to say maybe in February. By October that month, I was at the Grove. That year I was at the Grove. A couple months. It was
Wow.
yeah, the same year. So it was crazy how life just started to do a thing. It was like, he called me, and so it was just like I was supposed to go with my best friend and my other really close girlfriend, and then things started happening and life started getting weird, and they weren't going again, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna go again, and they're like, and so I call Araba in Nigeria, and I'm like, I don't think I can do this now. I'll push it back. I didn't want to go by myself, and he's like, no, I need you to be there. He's just like, my coronation is on October 15th, and I would like you to be there. That's my birthday.
Ha!
I'm like, that's crazy. That's my birthday. And he's like, oh, you have to be there. You
Crown
have to
me on
come.
your
And I'm just
birthday.
like, wow. So I don't know. Long story short, I'm on a plane. We're at the airport. I'm crying. I don't know how I got here. I'm going by myself. My besties are like, I don't know what's going on. And we're just like emotional. And I'm just like, all I know is I'm trusting spirit and I'm going. I don't know what I'm walking into. I'm the first person in my family and friends to initiate Ifa. I don't know what I'm about to encounter. I just go for dolo. I'm just outside. Like, what's the worst that can happen? My cousin's checking in on me to make sure I'm there, whatever. So I get there and it's a crazy experience. I'm the only woman that's initiating at the time.
Wow.
It was wild. Like, it was I don't even know. Like, it wasn't even anything I could even verbally explain, but it was, and plus it was a buzz-in time because he's about to become a rabbi. So the community is there, everything's happening, and I'm initiating. It's my birthday. I can't talk to my kids. My internet is crazy. I'm in the bushes of Oka. Like, I'm it was crazy, but I survived and it was great. And it was
Sure.
so funny because I'm in the airport and I get to Nigeria, and it was so crazy for me to even enter. I got so much like headache to get in to pass customs, and and I was praying. I'm like, even you got me this far, they're like trying to get me back on the plane because I didn't have one piece of paper they were asking for that no one ever told me I needed to
Mhm.
have, right? So I'm standing there and I'm praying. I'm like, Ifa, you don't get me this far to just get me this far. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Right.
And then the guy is like, do you have like candy or something? And I'm like, really? Okay. I give it to him and I go. And I'm like, wow. So later on now, I'm like, oh, that was SU. Like, really, like I had to give an offering to enter. Like, that was crazy. I'm at the airport, my phone is not working, and I'm sitting there. It's getting dark, and if you've been to the airport in Lagos, it's hustling. They trying to get your bags, it's whatever. My phone is not
Yes.
working. I'm like, how am I gonna get in contact with this man? It's nighttime in Nigeria. I'm a woman here by myself. I don't know what's going on. I all of a sudden hear this Trinidadian accent coming out of the heavens, and she's like, Natalya. And I'm like, yes. She's like, come. I'm just like, thank you. So then I go. So he had a friend that was there, and she literally like was the only person that, because that spoke English that I can speak to, and like kind of supported me through the process. I mean, it was crazy. She took all my pictures for me and recorded, and it was like, oh my God, just Roberta, never forget you.
Oh my
So
God.
it was an adventure, and then I came back and I initiated, and I was like, all right, now what? I'm in
Mm.
New York. I have no Elay. I have no body. I have to figure this thing out. So I ended up meeting up with the lady at the market. Told me, "Do you heard this Babalao? He has Babalaos over there. Like, I'll put you onto him." So she put me onto this Babalao, and he invited me to a festival. And then I ended up going, and it was great. And then one of the other Babalaos that was there, he's introducing me, and he's like, who did you initiate with? And I'm telling him, and he's checking to see if I'm lying. So he picks up his phone and he calls, and he calls my Oluo who initiated me to confirm it was me. And I was like, right. And he's like, okay, you're good. So that's how I ended up connecting. And me and him ended up working together and like me learning and stuff and creating like what I have now. Because I'm like, if I did this thing and now I'm here and like, what do I do? Right? How do I get started? Um, and it's been a crazy ride ever since. It's like chieftaincy. I'm like, a chief of what? Like, what do you want me to do? Like what? And
Mhm.
even my reading for this year, it says that Irete Ota, Arete Lato, that people will be like, people are I guess confused, like, how did I get here? Like, I didn't train like Babalaos. I don't, I didn't go through years of training, but I'm teaching Ifa and I know it. And I'm just like, they're like,
Mhm.
this is your destiny. So things come to me real quickly. I'm learning, and I'm just able to teach and share and exchange and get people to where they need to be. I initiated to ancestors as well, Igungun. So I'm Ghana as well. So I initiate people to ancestors too. Um, so it's a lot. It's a lot. And then, I'm in school, doing this PhD. I'm a mom of two. I'm trying to get my life together. It's a lot. Trying to make
Mhm.
it make sense. But we take it a day at a time.
Absolutely. It,
Mhm.
I,
It's a lot.
I'm like everybody. Like, this is wow. This
It's
is
wild.
epic.
And,
Like,
I'm even giving you the watered down version. Like, if you was to like pin my best friend who's a Iyanifa too, Ifa Bemi Sola Makanjola, like, I mean, it has been wow, right? And like, when I look back, I'm like, wow, like I really am like, what is wrong with you? Like, people are like, you went to Nigeria by yourself and you initiated by yourself. And I'm like, it's wild. But I did. I can see why you think that's crazy. But I guess that's what Black Vanguards do, right? Like, I don't know. I'm just
it is. It is. And I
I'm
think
just
that's
doing my thing.
why I
Uh,
was drawn to you and your energy. Like, the second time I went by myself.
Mm-hmm.
The first, it was a thing like you don't go to Nigeria like by
Right.
yourself, and I was
Right.
like, oh, I didn't even know, you know.
Right. I think for me, like, I realized I travel a lot. So I'm in Europe, I'm here, I've been in 13th century castles and Spinokia and wherever, blah, 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 Paris, Italy, London, whatever. And when it's time for me to go to Africa, I'm scared. And I just realized, like, even as an educated woman, like how deep rooted
Mm,
the fear and the stuff that was given to us about ourselves. Like how I was like, why are you scared to go to Africa? Like you should be able to go and not feel angst, right? Because I travel to Europe by myself. So why am I scared of myself? Why am I scared to go where I'm from? Right. So and so for me, like I intentionally like to take people to Nigeria to initiate
mm-hmm.
because it's what better way to connect. Um, you might never have this opportunity again. Most Black people don't go to Africa. I mean, recently now we're going a little more, in droves has become more popularized, but that wasn't something you would go to like South Africa or Ghana, but Nigeria is a little rough around the edges. Like that's not a place that you're necessarily going to. So, I try to take everyone there who can go, and initiate there and really connect. It's a different energy when you do it over there. So that's like one of my goals, like to get us there.
I appreciate that. And yeah, yeah, was definitely a guiding force in terms of the direction I was going with my initiation. She definitely guided me to Africa,
Girl, yeah.
Nigeria. So I
For
appreciate
sure.
that. I want to know a
Excuse me.
what or a who has been your inspiration, and how does that translate into the work that you do now?
Hmm. A what or a who? I have who's. um, the people that I would say the people that I deal with on a day to day. Honestly, my mom is somebody that has inspired me. My thinking about my grandmother, my best friends, like the women that are around me, the men that are around me are the ones who really inspire me because I know their story. I'm seeing them unlearning, relearning, pushing past things. When you initiate to Ifa, your whole life can go upside down because Ifa is like rooting things out that aren't supposed to be there. Like your norm is disrupted. I have people that are incarcerated that is holding on to Ifa for their life to get out. Women, just
Wow.
people who have to relearn themselves and you're accustomed being yourself and now you have to be better, right? Like working really hard. And so I'm really just inspired by the stories that I hear on a day to day, right? I'm inspired looking at my teenage daughter navigate high school with Oshun and what that looks like,
Mm-hmm.
watching, my mom reclaim what she grew up with, right? In Orisha tradition and all these things, or the men that's around that's working really hard to take care of their families or reinvent themselves, or just just navigating the space as a Black person. Like I'm not pressed about like celebrities and stuff. I'm really just inspired by the underdog and the one who's really trying and really working hard, like because I'm the underdog, right? Like in my family and in life. So I'm inspired by, I have mentors that, had to bust through some doors to get me where I'm at in academia and those type of things. People that won't um, let me give up on myself.
That's
Right. Like even when I'm like, I can't do this shit. This is crazy. Like, and they're like, you're going to do it. You're fine. Like get it together, like reel me in real quick. Because sometimes lower self kicks in. Like maybe I bit off more than I can chew. Maybe I can't do this. I don't know. But the people that are always in my ear, my Instagram, everyone that has ever said a kind word to me, I post something just because I'm feeling something and they're like, oh my God, I needed to hear that. Thank you so much. Like, da, da, da. Like, I look forward to your post. Like, those are the things that really keep me going and inspire me, to do this work. I think about what my ancestors couldn't do. So that's why I'm like, listen, I got to do it.
it.
So yeah, so it's really just I'm just really thankful for the team and the village and the people that I have around me. and what I'm seeing them doing that reminds me every day. My Oluwo, like, I text him like, I don't know how you do this. Like, how do you do this? And he's dealing with the me on the American side. He has an Ely in Trinidad. He has people in Nigeria. He's being pulled in different directions. He has kids. It was a lot. Like, I watched this man go through COVID, lost his wife, and didn't stop working a day. So I'm like, what am I complaining about, right? Um, so those are the things that really inspire me, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that has ever said. I pray for those that even wish me well, right? Like, that says a kind word to me. Thank you for giving me the space to have this conversation. Yeah, so those are the who's and the what's that get me going.
Is it the
The
wetsies?
who's and the what's. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important to notate. And I'm gravitated to believe that it was the same even in terms of your academic career and the
Hmm.
work that you're doing, that it is those recognitions by people and the underdog, and
Hmm.
having culture being able to be seen in a higher light,
Hmm.
uh, and in different
Yeah.
conversations,
Yeah.
respected conversations.
I remember when I was kind of like on the cusp of not wanting to finish my PhD because I was just tired, like just mentally tired. In my Oluwo, I was like, well, I don't need it. Like, I'm still doing my IFA work and whatever. And he was just like, that's your IFA work too. And
Mm,
I'm like, okay. And then I had to really sit down, like, you know what? You're everything that they don't want. You're black, you're an immigrant, you're a woman, you're
mm,
young, right?
mm.
Everything. I mean, and I'm in a lot of masculine spaces. So I'm everything that they're pushing against. So for me to have this PhD, like, who wanna talk to me? Like, I'm in these conferences with these white philosophers giving them the business. Like, what's up? And my Jordans and my bamboo earrings, right? Um, and my red lipstick. Like, what are you saying to me? I can go to war with y'all regular, So I think, yeah, it's a weird space to navigate as a woman, especially. Um,
That's kind of
yeah.
my next question, is how does that even feel to be a woman in power, and how is it received? And how do you shake that off and just continue to push forward?
Um, I mean, I'm a militant, so I come from warriors, right? So like my gungun are warriors. On both mother and father side are warriors. I
Mm.
grew up in Brooklyn in the '90s on Flatbush, so I'm a fighter, right? Like my grandfather, they used to call him Lego Beast, means like you let the beast go, like he couldn't, you didn't walk past him, right? My grandmother didn't play. Like, I come from people that are fighters, so I don't. I'm a fighter. So for me, in the difference, so I'm in academia. I'm in the highest level of academia and the highest level of thinking. So I'm in philosophy, which is very old and white,
Mm.
male, right? So I'm dealing with patriarchy, all of these things, colonialism, whatever, So I'm imagine me walking into a philosophy department or a history department. I'm dealing with ageism because, oh, you're too young to be so smart.
Mm.
I'm like, don't ever test this Urmila brain, okay? I'm just like, I'm too young. I'm this. I'm black. I don't keep. I'm not. I don't look like what it should look like. So I always have to fight in those, not fight in those spaces, but I've had to stand up very sturdy. I'm always the one black girl in the program, having the uncomfortable conversations, making everyone uncomfortable. I always say, if I'm in a room full of white people and y'all comfortable, I'm not doing my job. Right? So, and because of that, I got grants and I got scholarships and stuff because I opened my mouth and I spoke
Ah.
against whatever was happening, right? Um, so that's in academia. In education, same thing. I'm in front of the classroom like, hey guys, I'm your professor, and they thinking I'm one of the students because I don't, so I have to deal with those things, or the students not taking you seriously because they think you're one of them. I'm like, listen, I'm already getting my paycheck. I'll see you next semester. I don't really care, right? So I have to deal with those type of things as a woman. And then in IFA space now, it's still a very male dominated space,
Yeah.
right? Babala was coming for me all the time, right? But I'm not worried. Ifa told me I don't need to fight. Ifa will take care of y'all, so y'all can do what y'all want to do. I'm cool. I'm just minding my business and doing my job. So it's a hard space to navigate because it's hard and it's hurtful sometimes, but you get through. It's a part of the process. I eat it. I just kind of push through, and I have support, so I give thanks. So I have people that are holding me up whenever it gets rough. You know, my mom, my daughter, my best friends, like they keep me going. My Oluwo, he's always a phone call, text message, FaceTime away. Yelling at me, stop this crying, you're fine. Da, da, da. And I'm like, all right. Because a lot of it is happening fast. It's coming at me quick.
Yeah.
So it's like adjusting. Um, it's a lot, but it's definitely challenging being a woman in these spaces. But I'm used to it. Um, I understand the assignment. So it's just taking it a day at a time, taking each assignment at a time, knowing what they expect of me or what they don't expect of me. I always like the shock value. Oh, you said I can't do this? Okay.
Mhm.
Right? um, I'm kind of like that, I'm that kind of way. Like, okay, whatever. Um, so yeah, and then they always like, oh, actually, sorry, I've seen in Ifa has been a crazy experience coming up against a lot of these blah blah blah. So even Iyanifa's like who is she, like where'd she come from, whatever. I'm like, don't worry about all that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot because and I think I was disappointed in Ifa because I look at spirituality so different. So then to see people being humans in the spirituality, it's like wow, y'all
It's
don't
tough
y'all
to.
don't chill nowhere. Like, wow, like, okay, so we still on this type of time in Ifa? Okay. So having to adjust to that, like feeling like the rug is being pulled from under you because you're expecting everyone to be great and Iwa Pele and blah blah blah. I had to take those rose colored glasses off and be like, this is still a business. There's money involved here. There's a lot of ego involved here. There's a lot of that. So it's still it keeps me on a level. It's like, okay,
You
it's a lot of
said
egos and stuff. hmm
for sure, for
So
sure.
it's just it's another human space. So I just hold on to Ifa and don't worry about the humans too much.
That part, that
Yeah, and it's a
part.
lot. I'm sure everyone on here has an experience or something or whatever. But the fact is that we're still peopling. You know,
We're still people.
you have people that I've done work for, that I've helped, that have betrayed me, that have this, and it hurts because I put my whole ass in this. Like this is my life. Like I understand this mission, and it's hard sometimes because I do sacrifice a lot. Eva has to remind me all the time, take care of your family first, because I get so caught up in helping everybody else. Like, did I make sure my kids did their homework today? Because I'm on the phone with a client for 2 hours or whatever. So it's a lot of sacrifice. So then it's hard. It could be, you could feel crazy when you have to deal with these personality types. Like, wow, I really did, try my best with you, and here you are, just being whatever. Okay, but Ifa will take care of that.
If I will take care of that for sure.
It's not my problem.
I I love what you said about the rose colored glasses because I work with the cards with
Mm-hmm.
cardology and it encompasses astrology. And so I was as you said that I was like, that's very Neptunian, right? But
Mm-hmm.
so is spirituality, you
Mm-hmm.
know. It's like you're dealing with all these just the unseen realm and having a level of faith and love.
Mm-hmm.
Neptune deals with the rose colored glasses, not being able to see fully,
See.
which
Mm-hmm.
is why spirituality is there, but it's also um, love, a deeper level of love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very powerful and
Yeah, that thing that keeps you going.
yeah,
The love.
I like how that came together. I'm shifting through a few questions that I had. Like you just flowing like into all the questions that I had, which is very beautiful, and I love it. I want to take a quick break and
Okay.
remind everyone. Just this is a little
Mm-hmm.
announcement.
Okay.
Um, we're talking about Black Vanguards. We're talking about Iya being a Black Vanguard, Chief being a Black Vanguard, and I would love for y'all to go listen to the song. The link is in my bio. You can watch the video for the single. There's no video yet for Black Vanguard. Listen to the music. Follow me, follow her. So much content that we both put out that is
Sure.
very inspiring to many. So I encourage y'all to definitely follow me, follow her, and listen to the music, listen to Black Vanguard, and how it can help
Hmm.
you. Thus far, it's been one of the more popular songs that I get the most feedback from the album. So Drift and Go, Osunfemi, Ashe. Um,
Ashe.
Ashe. So which which leads into, what's the greatest lesson that you've learned being a Black Vanguard, being a leader, and really every aspect. You touched on education, being a professor, a teacher, spiritually, academically, the titling that you have and possess. Like, it's all about leadership.
I would say one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is to be yourself. Be your authentic self, whatever that is, right? And I think I struggled with that identity and self for a long time. I've been working with identity. I work with identity in academia and in different facets. I've seen how I've been working with identity for a long time. And I was even talking to my best friend today, and I was saying how when I teach the class Orisha and identity, that's my favorite thing about IFA classes that I teach, because once you find out like who your Orisha is and you're able to identify, like it's like you're learning yourself in a new way, right? So you're like,
Mhm.
oh, that's why I did that. Okay, that's why I like these colors. That's why I behave this way. That's why this. That's why that. I've been called a know-it-all my whole life. Well, yeah, because I'm Una Miller, right? Or like,
Yeah.
or my daughter being an Igungun person and she's been dreaming stuff as a little girl, or my mom being Shango, so I, being raised by a Shango mom is like no joke, or like like understanding
Heard.
that, right? So understanding that, um, for me is very important, and being yourself, whatever yourself is, but just embracing it, the flaws, the good things, the bad things, because everything else is just doesn't is not real. So in my leadership, I lead in my way. I'm myself, um, and I've had to stand up and defend that. I've had to defend that my whole life, being myself and being able to be myself in different spaces, whether it's in relationships, because I've always been too much, or these men couldn't rise to the occasion, whether it's in academia, and I'm in class like, no one's gonna say anything, no one's gonna say anything. And then I have to stand up and say it, right? I'm always the angry Black girl, or the one that has something to say, or but that's me, right? I'm disruptive. I'm coming in here to shake it up a bit. Like, we're not gonna sit down here and act like we're not gonna just breeze over this, right? Or just being myself, and that's me, and being unapologetically myself. Whether it's in the Iyanifa space, oh, you should. One Babala told me, oh, you shouldn't get any more tattoos. I'm like, that's why, because Ifa never told me that. Mind your business, sir. I was
Okay.
just like, this is my body's my canvas, and I will do as I please. When I get an Odu that says, do not mark your skin, then I will listen. Or wear this, or you don't do this, or you should try it this way. I'm like, listen, and I'm thankful, because Ifa reminds me all the time in my readings, like, your heart is pure, you have good character, people will betray you, but I will take care of it. So Ifa reminds me all the time it's okay to be myself, right?
Mhm.
And I'm just like, I'm not here to keep up appearances. I'm not here to pretend priestess, or to pretend Iyanifa, or whatever people think this is. Like, when they said I was supposed to be a priestess and an Iyanifa, and I'm just like, I don't know how to do that. He's like, you've been doing that your whole life. You've been the friend that people have been calling 3 o'clock in the morning. You've been their advisor. You've been their this. So I guess I've been training for the job my whole life, and just being okay being myself. So I think, regardless of whatever tensions, like, don't fall into what society is telling you to do. I could quickly succumb to all this bureaucratic nonsense that I'm dealing with in all the spaces that I'm in.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even have to fight family, right? You're hearing people say, oh, like, I remember me and my mom having a back and forth, like, you gonna go teach like that? She's a Caribbean woman, right? So she's like, you gonna go to school like that? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm not putting on a blazer and a turtleneck because I'm gonna go be a professor, right? No, that's not my style. I don't do that. Even today, I was struggling. Like, should I put on a shirt? Should I put on lace? And my daughter's like, Mom, that's not even your style. Like, just wear the shirt. And I was like, right, right. So just really being yourself, like whatever version of self is. And to me, that's the best way because you will attract what is for you if you're yourself. You'll attract the people that will love you. You will attract the people that enjoy you. And you don't have to pretend to be anybody else
That's good.
because they get it. They get you, whoever you are.
That's good.
Right?
I think that just flows into the advice for the up and coming Black vanguards.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest lesson, but also the teachable, the most teaching moment. Sis, is to be authentically yourself, and what better time to be doing that than in the
Mm-hmm.
age of Aquarius, you
Right.
know,
Right.
which will, ruled by Uranus, is going to shake your stuff up anyway to
Exactly.
make you be that.
Exactly. So you might as well get on the bandwagon.
Yeah, it's important and it's tough. It's tough work. Hence the pandemic and okay.
So cute.
Tennessee energy that's trying to be on camera.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's definitely, yeah. I think authenticity is definite. I mean, that's all you have. Everyone else is taken. Just be yourself.
Everyone else is taken.
For sure.
Ready. Just just wait a second, sweetie. Um,
Yeah. His name
yeah,
is Prosperity. You said Prosperity?
yeah.
That's dope.
Her name is Prosperity,
That's beautiful.
and she brought a lot.
Ashe. Ashe.
So we give thanks
Ashe.
for her entering the room in
In
the
the room,
space.
right. We could do it. Thank you for the prosperity. Thank you.
Yeah,
Ashe.
yes. So I didn't see too many questions in the chat. I think we're gonna wrap it up. We've been
Uh-huh.
on for about an hour
Yeah.
almost.
Mhm.
We don't want to take too much more of your time, of the people's time, but I think people really enjoyed learning about you and the process. Young
Mhm.
ladies, stop right here. Um, don't let her stop.
Well, thank you for having me and, giving me the space. I appreciate that because I'm not a live person. I kind of hide behind the camera and behind the scenes type of vibe. So Eva keeps pushing me forward in the limelight, and I'm just like, hmm.
Yeah, it's been happening, and it started, like I said, for me in 2020. And yeah, scoot over so she can sit down. To be on live and to be speaking, next to and sharing, and I think
Ashe.
I found that people really appreciate the background story, because a lot of questions and a lot of insight is given into your own, other people's journey. Like, oh wow, like when I heard that, that was real, or like,
Right.
just
Yeah.
the magical insights that you gave us in terms of just going to initiation. It's like
Hmm.
we got to pay attention to all those. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And my my Ila is Ifa Tita Ile Aye, which means Ifa is the truth of the world. But our slogan is we Ifa differently, right? Which means like, we're authentic selves. We are, for me, I preach this is a machine. We have individual identities, but we also have a collective identity.
That's
We have a collective destiny, and we're all parts of this bigger machine, right? But you don't have all of the same parts of a machine for it to work. There are different parts for this machine to work. So be the best part that you can be for this bigger machine. You have your own family and stuff, but you add to the bigger conversation. Spirituality to me is the next revolution, right? Like we've done everything else, but for me, for Black people to really navigate this space and be, it's like Ifa helps us move almost invisible through the mud, right? So, just be yourself, be the best piece of that, be that best piece for that machine and do your work and do your thing and hunker down, be yourself, mind your business. We all have a specific identity. Don't worry about what this one have and what that one have and why she doing this and why she doing that. Everybody can't be a leader. Everybody can't be a babalawo. Everyone can't divine. But the drummer is just as important as the Iyanifa, as important as the woman who's making the pound of yam, the one who's carving the stuff. You know what I mean? The art pieces and stuff. So just really be yourself and don't worry about what no one else is doing. And I think that would really help us as a community, just to grow and be better, because if you really just focus on what you need to focus on and just be great at it, and then we could come together and work together, like who's stopping us?
Ashe, Ashe,
You
Ashe.
know, who's stopping us
Yes.
for sure.
No one.
So
No one.
no, we get to, and I tell people all the time, like I felt bad during the COVID because everyone, all of the whole team, everybody, we were getting promotions, jobs, having babies, moving. Like it almost was like that shit don't apply to us,
Yeah.
right? Ifa had us in our little Ifa bubble, and we were just moving. So if
Mhm.
we could really hold on to Ifa and remove the blockages and the negative and get the clarity, you get the answers to the test. Like you get the cheat sheet.
Whew.
Just move through that, right? And
Yeah.
navigate it the best way you can, you know,
Yeah.
and let us get to, let's secure the bag, secure this, the legacy, the generational wealth. Like we got a lot of work to do. We starting from
Indeed.
scratch.
Indeed.
We
Indeed.
starting from scratch over here in the diaspora, you
Yes.
know. So we gotta really get the work done and just do your thing. Don't worry about nobody else. Look, people tell you do this, that's all you need to focus on. Focus on that. Help those around you, but be able to be an individual in the collective and be your best self.
Ashe.
Check.
Ashe. I love it. I thank you. I thank
Thank
you so
you.
much
Thank
for
you.
joining. This is a powerful, powerful Black vanguard in the community.
Ashe.
Y'all see her, y'all feel her, and
Thank you
I'm
all
just
that joined in.
yes,
I pray your song touches the world and everyone. I pray your music, and thank you for what you're doing and giving, a platform for people to come and speak. I've been watching your series, your Dripped and Go, your Ocean series, and it was really nice to watch and see. So, and thank you again for inviting me in this space. I look forward to seeing the other Black vanguards and the
Ashe.
awesome work that they're doing. You know.
Yes, yes. I'm looking forward to it as well. We're gonna rock out to the song. We're gonna at least try
Yeah, that's it.
because it just flows into what you were just saying too. Like it can't be
Yeah,
stopped. Let me see. Let me
no,
see if we could.
you be in your own way most times.
Yeah, I hold you all. Time to free them all. Brilliant minds. Stay. The holders and the dreamers of our existence. Commander of intelligence. Banish the idea of vocal negligence. Real balls. Still remember Negro spiritual. That was about a liberation. We speaking freely, real balls. Still every clap back. Yeah, pack that. We ain't giving no slack. Oh, you like how she slayed? That's big. Just of a collective richness. Daily they were witness. Recognize the real inconsistent. Yeah, with it is sticking like the agenda. Black vanguard, black leadership. Black vanguard, black leadership. Black vanguard, black leadership. Movement of the people we bout excellence. Black vanguard, black leadership. Black vanguard, black leadership. Black vanguard, black leadership. Movement of the people we bout excellence. 28 days is enough. Keep it two. February pull up, feel the power coming through. We children of the water in alignment with the moon. Liberation is now, revolution coming soon. The age of Aquarius, not the nefarious. Thinking they can stop this vanguard is hilarious. Heroes with a call, build them up, build them strong. Yeah, I hold them all. Time to free them all. Brilliant minds stand tall. In the midst of a paradigm shift, we the president of gifts. Celebrate, raise a fist. Then dig it in the fertile soil. Eating from the land, growing a ox and a coil. We taking geometry, Fibonacci spiral. Tag geniuses like the ancients of Cairo. Intertwining with the crypto, but keep it real simple. The ones and the zeros. Remember who you are. Get in line with the 10. Black vanguard, black leadership, black vanguard. Yes.
Awesome,
Awesome.
Black vanguard indeed.
It is time. It is necessary. Um,
Hmm.
now. And so we thank you. We thank you. We thank you for coming on and sharing your power, your journey, your spirit. And we all have a lot to learn and to find our place within it. So give thanks
Thank you.
in the chat. And I look forward to speaking with you soon.
Yes, indeed. Thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your week, everyone. Have a great week ahead. All right. Peace. Later. Odabo.